before in your last book, Groundswell, Twitter was just kind of coming on the scene. Now it's, you said in your book, you know, it's definitely a force that's actually happening in fielding customer complaints. What's the number one problem with Twitter you see companies doing right now that they're not understanding Twitter?
Well, first of all, they need to have a policy about whether employees can Twitter, and if so, what sorts of things they are permitted to do as employees. So without a policy, people can tweet all sorts of things like, hey, let me tell you what next quarter's earnings release is going to look like, which is obviously contrary to policy. Also, for companies that get more sophisticated, the single corporate Twitter account needs to evolve to having a whole lot of people having these accounts. At Best Buy, there's 2,500 people who can share their 12 force. This is the way they respond to Twitter queries, and that's enormously robust and helpful to have all of those people who are in a position to respond, not just one corporate Twitter account.
With maybe Best Buy and their 12 force, you said a statement that I really liked in the book, that customer service is marketing. You know, like, are you trying to say that customer service is your main source of marketing, or what are you trying to say with that?
Well, we're actually able to quantify the amount of word of mouth that people generate. And in the United States, for example, we're talking about 500 billion impressions that people make on one another about products and services in social environments every year. So in an environment like that, what your customers say is crucial. That means influencing what your customers say is marketing, because they're telling other people. So if you deliver the kind of customer service that makes people delighted and talk about how great your products are, then you're actually generating marketing. Contrary-wise, if you abuse people and that abuse becomes knowledgeable or becomes public, then you have thousands or even millions of people hearing about just how awful your company is.
Have you come across or had to deal with a situation when it really did go south? Like maybe the company did loosen up with their online policies, and then something you had to perform some sort of damage control, or has it been overall positive?
It's pretty much positive, and the reason is that these companies that loosen up do so with policy in place. Most of the stuff that goes wrong in companies that don't have a policy, or that have a policy that says things aren't permitted. Now, for example, there was a recent problem with Nestle where their website got attacked by Greenpeace, and that was made worse by the responses I'm sorry, it wasn't a website, it was a Facebook page. It was the responses on the Facebook page from a corporate employee were really not very helpful. And that's partly because somebody who's in that position has to get trained in what is and isn't appropriate. It's certainly not the right thing for an intern. This is part of what it means to be a corporate spokesperson now. Since all people in the organization are going to be speaking for the company in one way or another, they all have to get trained on what is and isn't appropriate.
I guess last thing that I'm thinking about to close it off is you guys, with Forrester Research, you do a lot of projections into where things are happening in the future and where the trends are going. In the next 5 years, what's the number one consequence of a company, of a typical company that doesn't embrace this empowered lifestyle or empowering their employees? What's the number one thing that will go wrong for them, probably?
I'd say it's probably irrelevance, because we're talking about a change in corporate attitudes. So if you empower your employees, then you're going to have innovation coming from all throughout your company, and you'll be able to move at a pretty rapid pace, which is exactly what's needed in a world where any consumer has access to all these same tools for their own purposes. If you shut off that innovation, if you say, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to do that, you're not allowed to use these tools, you have to get 12 levels of approval, then you could just keep plodding along and wait until some company that's moving at a faster rate just sucks up all the competitive energy and takes away your customers.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks.